Okay, YouTube. I guess this is Happy Valentine's Day. I got a hug when I went and got my eggs and coffee this morning from a nice lady that goes by the name of Soul. It's the most love that I'm going to get on Valentine's Day, but that's okay because I love my life anyway. And I'm wearing my hat because it's raining and, you know, well, staying home today because feeling a little bit under the weather. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read for you a couple of my blog entries, and then also, hopefully, time willing, give another thing too. This first one is an open letter to President Obama, and you should know that I think the man is a good man and that he wants to do the right thing. But at the same time, he is playing the game of politics by playing with money, and the money is hurting us all, and it's got to stop. So I'm speaking my piece to him with these two open letters. This first one is in direct response. Excuse me, in direct response to his State of the Union address. That's January 25th of this year. So here we go. Mr. President, your State of the Union address inspired a number of feelings in me, many of which were frustration. 2 weeks ago, I started a movement called Revolt Against the Rich. This is a nonviolent campaign to meaningfully redistribute the wealth by wiping global debt clean. In your address, you suggested that we ought to begin vigorously competing with China, and I think that this is a bad idea for U.S.-China relations, and I propose a better way forward, a mutually beneficent way forward at my blog, buskerbayarea.wordpress.com. And you also spoke in your address about a proposed spending freeze. I have a better solution for that. And you can discover that also at my blog, buskerbayarea.wordpress.com. You also spoke about requesting billionaires and millionaires to make larger tax contributions. Of course, that is a great way to go, but it's not nearly far enough to actually restore a little bit of equality to this country. Okay, so I've got a solution for that issue too. I applaud your affirmation of renewable, abundant, and sustainable energy. But I suggest that we already have the technology to allow us to have it much sooner than 2035, which is the date you gave us. And I cautiously suggest that you stop giving people hope in clean coal. There's no such thing. It's all dirty coal. It's coal. It's the stuff you get in your stocking when you're bad for Christmas. It's coal. We should stop burning it. Mr. President, this nonviolent movement that I've started will have its first visible event in San Francisco on March 15th in the form of a nonviolent demonstration of people power in the financial district in San Francisco. I want to make it clear to you we are not revolting against the U.S. government. We are indeed revolting against the fact that special interest lobbyists have much more political sway than an average American voter. We're revolting against the corporate capitalist psychosis that says maximize profits at whatever exploitative cost to our trust and our environment. And this sort of philosophy needs to be laid to rest for the sake of future Americans and for our current environmental health. Mr. President, Earth, our island home, is much more necessary to focus on than the economy. And I urge you to stop trying to fix our problems with more money. Money is not a solution. It is the problem. Our current political system is trying to fix our problems by throwing more money at them. This is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline, and it's getting out of control, which is why we need to revolt. And I can assure you that I'm a pacifist, 100%, and all of my events that I sponsor will be nonviolent. And if you have doubts about this, please consider the fact that I'm a musician. You can see my guitar sitting in the back there. I'm a musician, and I'm a soon-to-be seminary graduate. All I know is peace. But I can no longer stand for the injustices that our country is perpetrating on her own citizens and on the rest of the world. So that's open letter to Obama 1. This is open letter to President Obama 2. Dear President Obama, our country is in a crisis. An independent economist puts the unemployment rate at 22.2%. That's John Williams of San Francisco, which includes all the people who have simply, this number 22.2% includes all the people who have stopped looking for work. The increased consolidation of wealth and power is castrating our democracy. No one has a vote unless they have the money, and this includes you, Mr. President. Compound this with the tragic shootings in Arizona and the recent NBC-Comcast merger and the unrest in the Middle East, and we have some very serious problems confronting us as a world. Most of all, climate change. There is a scientific consensus that climate change is real and will happen if it's not underway already. 55,000 species of plants and animals are becoming extinct per year. 55,000! This is unacceptable and simply unsustainable. For these many reasons, I am leading a nonviolent revolt against the rich. This is a revolt for true equality, real freedom, and a sustainable, abundant civilization. My policy suggestion to your administration is a simple three-part plan. 1. Eradicate global debt. 2. Remove all money in banks from our culture and move on to an economy of trust based on a currency of language. Learn more about that at my blog, buskerbayarea.wordpress.com. And 3. Immediately begin rebuilding our infrastructure in a sustainable and abundant fashion before it's too late. These ideas are, of course, receiving a heavier treatment as to their necessity and practicality on my blog, buskerbayarea.wordpress.com. We can do all of this non-violently, but we need the right leadership to do it. Mr. President, I challenge you to espouse the virtues of nonviolence and support the people of America in creating an equal world and a world of peace and all that good stuff, the stuff that we learned in kindergarten. Thanks. So, finally, I'd like to read a little bit from Henry David Thoreau. This is Civil Disobedience. Civil Disobedience. He wrote this in 1849, before the Civil War even, okay? This man is a natural law prophet, just like Nietzsche and George Carlin. Civil Disobedience. I heartily accept the motto that government is best which governs least, and I should like to see it acted up to more rapidly and systematically. Carried out, it finally amounts to this, which I also believe, that government is best which governs not at all, and when men are prepared for it, that will be the kind of government which they will have. Government is at best but an expedient, but most governments are usually, and all governments are sometimes, inexpedient. The objections which have been brought against a standing army, and they are many and weighty, and deserve to prevail, may also at last be brought against a standing government. The standing army is only an arm of the standing government. The government itself, which is only the mode which the people have chosen to execute their will, is equally liable to be abused and perverted before the people can act through it. Witness the present Mexican War. The work of comparatively few individuals using the standard government as their tool, for, in the outset, the people would not have consented to this measure. I would argue that 9/11 was the exact same thing. This American government, what is but a tradition, though a recent one, endeavoring to transmit itself unimpaired to posterity, but each instant losing some of its integrity. It has not the vitality and force of a single living man, for a single man can bend it to his will. It is a sort of wooden gun to the people themselves, and if they ever should use it in earnest as a real one against each other, it will surely split. Which, of course, it didn't, because the Civil War actually had a unification effect, if we can hope that to be true. And right now, we're fighting for equality again. But we can fight it in our brains, not with our wooden guns to each other's heads. All right? Peace.